Right now, the machine in front of you does a few billion calculations every second. That is fast. But somewhere in a guarded hall, wired into its own power substation, sits a machine that does a billion billion. Not billions, a billion billion, every single second. We call that threshold exascale, and until a few years ago, no computer on Earth had ever reached it. Today, only a handful have. This is what they are, how they are built, and what they are really for. First, the yardstick. We measure these machines in flops, floating point operations per second, the decimal number math that science runs on. The scale climbs in giant steps. A billion is a gigaflop, a trillion, a teraflop. 1,000 of those is a petaflop. And 1,000 petaflops is 1 exaflop, 10 to the 18th, a quintillion calculations a second. To feel that, imagine doing one sum a second by hand. To match a single second of an exascale machine, you would need about 30 billion years, longer than the universe has existed. So how do you rank them fairly? You give every machine the same brutal exam. It is called LINPACK, and it forces the computer to solve one enormous wall of linear equations, millions of unknowns at once. The sustained speed it holds on that problem is its official score called Rmax. There is also Rpeak, the speed you would get if every chip ran flat out with no friction. Real machines only reach 60 to 90% of that. The gap is the cost of moving data around, and that is where the real engineering lives. Those scores go on one list. The top 500, published every June and November since 1993, ranks the 500 fastest computers that agree to be tested. That last part matters. It is a submission list. A machine only appears if its owners choose to run the benchmark and publish the result, so some powerful private and military systems never show up at all. But for the ones that do, this is the global leaderboard. Here is today's top 5. Before we count them down, look at what one actually is. A supercomputer is not one giant computer. It is thousands of servers, called nodes, packed into rows of cabinets and made to attack a single problem together. The machines on this list run from about 5 million to nearly 14 million processing cores. The trick is not just having them, it is getting millions of cores to work on the same calculation at the same instant without tripping over each other. That is the job of the interconnect, and it is the real secret. Every node is stitched to every other by an ultra-fast, ultra-low latency network with names like Slingshot, InfiniBand, or China's Lingxi. It lets the whole hall trade data quickly enough to behave as one mind. Take an ordinary rack of servers, and it lacks exactly this. That is why a warehouse of normal computers is not a supercomputer. The wiring between them is what makes them a single machine. Then you add muscle and heat. Most of the speed now comes from accelerators, GPUs, and APUs, built for parallel math, not from ordinary processors. Cramming that much silicon together makes enormous heat, so almost all of them are cooled by liquid piped directly across the chips, and they are thirsty. Each of these machines pulls between 15 and 40 megawatts, the electricity of a small town, running day and night. Number 5. Jupiter, at the Jülich Center in Germany. It is Europe's first exascale computer, landing right at 1 exaflop. It is built from thousands of NVIDIA Grace Hopper superchips, each pairing an ARM processor with a Hopper GPU, laced together with NVIDIA InfiniBand. And it is the most efficient machine on this list, doing all of that on under 16 megawatts, aimed at climate models and Europe's own sovereign AI. Number 4. Aurora, at Argonne National Laboratory in the United States. Just past 1 exaflop, it is packed with Intel's largest data center GPUs, codenamed Ponte Vecchio, alongside Intel Xeon Max processors. It is a power-hungry machine, near 39 megawatts, and it is pointed at cancer research, fusion, aerospace, and training large scientific AI models. The image here is Intel and Argonne's own render of the system. Number 3. Frontier at Oak Ridge. This is the historic one. In June 2022, Frontier became the first machine ever to break the exaflop barrier, opening the exascale era the others now live in. It still runs at 1.35 exaflops, built on AMD EPIC processors and Instinct MI2 550X GPUs over an HPE Slingshot network, doing open science across climate, materials, and astrophysics. Number 2. El Capitan at Lawrence Livermore. Around 1.8 exaflops for more than 11 million cores, and its design has a twist. It uses AMD MI300A chips that fuse the processor and the GPU onto a single package, so they share memory instead of copying it. Its main job is sobering. It simulates the United States nuclear stockpile in 3 dimensions, so the aging arsenal can be certified as reliable without a single live detonation. And the new number 1, LineShine, in Shenzhen, China. It is the first Chinese system to top the list in a decade and the first machine ever to pass 2 exaflops at 2.2. But the shock is how. It uses no GPUs at all. It reaches the top on CPUs alone, nearly 14 million cores of a custom ARM-based chip called the LX2 on a Chinese interconnect. It draws about 42 megawatts, and much of its internal design is still a closely held secret. Step back, and this is a race. The petaflop fell in 2008. The exaflop took another 14 years until Frontier in 2022. In just a few years since, the record has more than doubled, and the lead has passed from America to China. Behind these 5, the United States, China, Japan, and Europe are each pouring billions into the next machines, because being able to compute the fastest has quietly become a measure of national power. And it is not for show. These machines earn their power on problems nothing else can touch. They model the whole planet's climate decades ahead. They simulate fusion reactors and nuclear weapons. They fold proteins to hunt for new drugs, and they train the largest AI models in existence. These are questions with more arithmetic inside them than any normal computer could finish in a human lifetime. So that is a supercomputer today. Thousands of nodes, millions of cores, welded into one mind by its network, drinking the power of a town, and measured by one relentless exam. 5 of them have now crossed a line almost no one thought reachable a decade ago. And the machines meant to pass the next one, the zettascale era, are already being drawn on paper.